Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another week of your Arkansas football recruiting report with your very own Otis Kirk. And Otis, we know these last 3 weeks have been some long weeks for the Razorbacks. 3 losses in a row, back-to-back SEC losses. But hopefully things can, get clearer and clearer because these weeks have been long. And next week they got BYU. It's not going to be an easier test next week. And on top of that, we got some news today that just actually hit the surfaces that Braylon Russell, the 4-star recruit running back, just decommitted from the University of Arkansas. How big is that? How big is that news, Otis?
Oh, that's huge. I mean, there's always a chance you can get him back, but as far as him decommitting, that's huge news, CJ. Because I mean, for one thing, he was the only commitment in the class of 2024, and he's one of the top players in the country at his position, and you were counting on him to kind of be the, I guess, bell cow, the leader to get more kids.
Right.
But all the kids in the state respect him and look up to him. The Walker Whites, the other kids, we've had on here, TJ Lindsay's and stuff.
Right.
But it's not the news you want. Like you said, they've lost 3 in a row, and now this hits with the decommitment, the only 2024 pledge that was in the class. It's an in-state kid, too. That puts a little extra sting. That puts even more extra sting on it. And he's friends with some of these other kids, so if by chance he didn't come to Arkansas, there's always a chance that could hurt him with a lot of other kids too in the state of Arkansas. So, the good news is Arkansas is pretty deep at running back. The bad news is they still need to keep adding because kids get hurt there. They go to the NFL a year early. They transfer. Things happen. You can never get too many great players in this day and age at any position because that transfer portal is wide open.
Yeah.
And you may think you're set there, and you could look at your roster and think, we're set pretty good there for a while,
right,
but not even poor because kids will hit that portal faster than politicians will throw bad things at other ones, So, I mean, it's a game. It's recruiting, and it really stings to, I won't say lose a kid in the state, but to get him to decommit. Because, like I said, I can't say they lose him or lost him because there's always a chance he comes back to the fold. Other kids have decommitted, then recommitted, or decommitted and signed elsewhere. And at this point, you never know what Braylon's going to do. I don't think it looks good for him coming to Arkansas. I'm just going to be honest with you. This has been something that I've thought about for a while. There's some factors there, more than one factor. He was at Lakeside last year, and now he's at Benton. And Benton doesn't have anything to do with it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's been some changes, and Benton has nothing to do with that. I don't want anybody to think I'm implying that moving to Benton causes it didn't, or at least I don't. I'm not aware of anything, and I've known Brad Harris. I don't think there's anything there as far as that. But I'm just saying there's been some changes with him, and I think that this is not unexpected in my book. I've kind of been looking for this for a while. It's unfortunate, and right now, and this could change. This could change by the time this show ends, CJ. I don't feel good about him eventually coming to Arkansas now. Maybe I'm wrong. I know Jimmy Smith is a great recruiter. Jimmy Smith, Sam Pittman, those guys know how to recruit. And so but we'll see how this plays out. Now, with that said, it didn't, there's been other kids in Arkansas. It didn't look good for Isaiah Sustaining last year either, if you remember. I mean, he was committed to A&M. He was committed to Oregon, and I sat here and said what he had told me he wasn't interested in going to Arkansas.
Right.
He wanted to get away from home, and that was Isaiah. And then all of a sudden, where's he at? He's in Arkansas. So recruiting, Orville Henry is one of my favorite writers ever. Always told me recruiting will make a liar out of all of us, and I mean, nothing truer than that. So people have to understand things change in recruiting. I can say right now, I don't feel good about Braylon eventually attending Arkansas. By comparison, I said the same thing about Isaiah last year, and I mean, so I mean, I don't know if that even means anything. What I feel right now, because it's what December is signing. It's still a few months away. Well, I mean, no, his will be the following 2024. So his is even longer than that away, 16 months away or 15. So, I mean, God knows a kid that age can change their mind 100 times in the next 16 months, I mean, I'm an old man and I change my mind all the time. So I'm sure Braylon's very capable of changing it. I know Arkansas will continue to recruit him hard. Because one thing, bottom line is that kid's a great football player. He's a good kid too. Yeah. He's not a bad kid at all. He's a good kid. I don't want people to I mean, what I say doesn't matter, but I know they're going to do it. But I don't want people to go on Twitter and trash the kid because, look, he's got a right to go where he wants to go and make his own decision and make it when he wants to. If you praised him when he committed to Arkansas on November the 6th of 2021, don't go in there ripping him now. The kid's got every right to make a decision that's best for him, and we'll see what his final decision is, because this is not a final decision. All he did was decommit from Arkansas.
Yeah.
He's going to weigh his options. Yeah, he'd been visiting other schools anyway, CJ. He'd been to Ole Miss quite a bit with Walker White and the other recruits, TJ and some of them. Like I said, it doesn't surprise me, but then again, we'll see how this all plays out. Just everybody just chill and give it time, and we'll see how it works out. He's a young kid that's a good kid and a young player, and he's a stud football player on the field. He's a man. He's 6'2", 230, by the way. And I mean, oh yeah, he's a load coming at you. When he comes at you, Braylon Russell could be one heck of a linebacker if that's what he chose to do, but it'd be foolish to put him at linebacker when he's a running back like he is. I never will forget the day that Arkansas offered him. He was at a football camp up here, and the person with me was a scout from Memphis. Not the University of Memphis, but he ran a scouting service from Memphis for like 7-on-7 and stuff. We were watching we watched a lot of positions. We moved over to the running backs, and he said, "Man, that kid, I bet he's going to Arkansas." He thought he was a senior. He thought Braylon was a senior. He was in the 9th grade at the time. I mean, yeah, he's at 9th grade at the Arkansas football camp. He was the best running back out there, and he was in the 9th grade. That's how good Braylon Russell was. And this is a guy that sees talent from all over the country. His mouth flew open when I said, "No, he's a 9th grader, man." He said, "Arkansas offered." I said, "No, but I'll bet you $5 he has one before he leaves his campus today." And he did. He had an offer before he left. I said, "It's coming, man." I mean, that's as automatic as whatever. And so, but that's a story I can tell because that guy had seen talent from all over the country and was blown away by Braylon being a 9th grader. He wasn't 230 at the time, but he looked like he was probably about 215 at the time, CJ. He was still a big kid, even in the 9th grade. And he came up to the picnic up here. He was at the Alabama game too, by the way. He's been to Arkansas. And he's been here countless times. And he was at the picnic they had last summer because I interviewed him outside there when he left there. He and his family, it was his dad's birthday, and I called him at the birthday celebration, and Dad celebrating. Didn't give me any cake though, so I'm still mad at his dad about that. But no, joking. But no, he's a good kid, like I said. And I don't want people to get on to him because he'll make the best decision for himself. And there's always a chance he can come back to the fold at Arkansas. He is an Arkansas kid, and he has talked about that means something to him. And he had like the Razorbacks to commit to Arkansas in the first place. He had other options when he committed to Arkansas. So, and he's going to have more options than Scott, especially now that he reopened recruiting. But Ole Miss is a team to watch there. They're a team to watch for him and Walker White and probably some of these other kids too. But Arkansas just needs to take care of everything on the field. And they've got Ole Miss coming here in November. They just need to take care of let Jimmy Smith do his job. Jimmy's one heck of a recruiter, great person. He'll handle it and he'll take care of it. So we'll see how this all plays out.
Yeah, let's take a deep breath, everybody. You can open up and recruit me back up. It sounds like has a lot of schools on his hands, like you said, Ole Miss and a couple more other guys. So he's a special talent. There's nothing wrong with opening him back up to recruit me. He still has a couple years left, like you say. He's a young kid. He's still thinking, might change his mind from the morning time to the nighttime. So you just
when I was that age, all I had on my mind was girls, so I didn't have to worry about college offers. I had to worry about which girl I was going to call that day. But I was an idiot. But I'm not like Braylon. I was a complete idiot. But I majored in chasing girls instead of football. So of course I wasn't 6'2", 230 either. Believe it or not, I weighed 132 pounds the day I graduated from high school. You can't look at me today and believe that, but I did. I weighed 132 pounds the day I graduated from high school. So I wasn't no 4-star running back, I can assure you. I'm not sure I was a 4-star girl chaser, but I tried to be.
That's a big fella. You talked about how big he was and how he can be a linebacker. Well, let's talk about the linebackers. Brad Spence, who was also he's recruited by University of Arkansas, and on top of that, they compare him to one of the greatest players in the NFL right now. He was the offensive rookie last year and defensive rookie last year. And my goodness, he was special. We're talking about Micah Parsons, who plays for the Dallas Cowboys, and how special he was in that linebacker room. Talk about how special Brad Spence is for the University of Arkansas.
He got compared to Micah Parsons, high school coach down in Houston this week. And I'm telling you, I've seen Brad Spence in person. When you get compared to Micah Parsons, because Micah Parsons may be the best defensive player he may be the best player in the NFL. He's certainly probably up there. You can make a great argument he's the best defensive player in the NFL, and you can make some kind of an argument he's the best player in the NFL. I know Mahomes and some of these quarterbacks, people would disagree. But no, I mean, getting compared to Micah Parsons is the ultimate compliment for a linebacker. And that's where Brad Spence is. He's committed to Arkansas. He's about 6'2", 230 maybe. He's got a younger brother who's already been offered by Arkansas. I want to say he's in the 10th grade. I believe he's a 10th grader. No, he's a 9th grader, but I'm pretty sure it's 10th grader. I've had a story on it, but it's been a while since I've interviewed him. But he does have a younger brother who got offered too by Arkansas, obviously, and by California and others. But Brad is an edge rusher in high school, kind of like the Micah Parsons deal, but he's going to move to linebacker, the Drew Sanders type deal at Arkansas. You know, he edge rusher in high school, moved to more inside linebacker at Arkansas, and Arkansas was very fortunate to get Brad. He chose them over California and others, and but getting comparisons to Micah Parsons for his play on the field is more than, you know, being a 3 or 4 star recruit. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment for a linebacker. Right now, I mean, you're a quarterback, you get compared to Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, you know, those guys, that's the ultimate comparison. A defensive lineman, you get compared to Aaron Donald, that's the ultimate compliment. But when you're a linebacker and you get compared, these words are getting me, to Micah Parsons, that's the ultimate compliment. So, I mean, that's where they're at with Brad Spence. So, like I said, this staff is doing a good job recruiting. You just got to keep bringing in talent. It never ends. You can't control injuries. You can't control some things. You just got to keep working. And with the transfer portal out there, I'm telling you, recruiting never stops. Never know for sure anymore what you've got. That's what's rough, CJ. It's easy to look at the roster and say, you know, you got this guy, you got that guy. Maybe just recruit 1 or 2 linebackers or 1 or 2 safety. Right. Then you start looking for roster, but you don't know. At this time last year, no one expected Joe Fauché, a team captain, and Greg Brooks to leave. So you never know. And Vito Calvaruso left. So you have people leave, and you have the kids like, you know, kids coming into Arkansas from other schools. So, and it's going to continue. So we'll see how it goes. But that's a great pickup with Brad Spence, you know, and he will sign in December. That's a kid that's eligible to sign. I tried to get Braylon signed a year early, but Brad is 2023. Well, 2023. So that, and the next one we're going to talk about is 2023 as well. Okay.
Well, that's some good news. You know, Hog fans love to hear. That's some good news right after Braylon, but also some more good news. You talked about how we can't control injuries, and nobody can, whether you're in high school, college, NFL, NBA, wherever you are. You just can't control them, and we're dealing with some injuries right now, Otis, on offense and on defense. Of course, the top injury was our QB1, KJ Jefferson. He was out yesterday in that Mississippi State game, but Cade Fortin stepped in and started, but Malik Hornsby, he was the star of the show when he got in and checked in and got hurt a little bit, went to the 10 a little bit and came back, and man, he came out with vengeance. They had, I think it was a holding call and everything. It started back, but after that, he had a 52-yard run. I remember he threw a dart to Stevens. That was, my goodness, on the money. Right in his hand, didn't have to stop or anything. But talk about Malik Hornsby's performance yesterday against.
Yeah, you know, I've seen Malik in practice. I've seen the scrimmages. I've seen him in games, and I've never seen that Malik Hornsby. Yes, he really put on a show, and he showed that he's got a lot of talent. You know, and here's the deal. You know, he wasn't known for his passing, but I'm going to tell you now, the passes to Hazelwood, there was some blown coverage, and he found Hazelwood. I'm not taking anything away from it, but I'm saying there was some coverage. But that pass to Bryce Stevens, that guy had Bryce Stevens blanketed. And Malik laid that ball in there.
Right over the top.
That was one heck of a throw.
Yes.
There was nothing blown coverage or fluke about that. that was one heck of a throw to Bryce Stevens. And you still, even if they blow coverage, you've got to be able to hit them. So, I mean, he hit Jaden Hazelwood. I'm not being critical about that, but I'm just pointing out that I said all that to say that pass to Bryce Stevens, you couldn't ask for. I mean, those quarterbacks we talked about earlier that's in the NFL couldn't throw a better pass. Malik threw on that. Now, he did have the one pass, not even the 2 interceptions, but the one pass I think he'd rather have back than anything would be the pass to Matt Landers, where Matt was at the 1 yard line, could have walked into the end zone. And, I could have been in a wheelchair and gotten the end zone if they'd thrown me the ball there. There was nobody around him, and he had a touchdown, and Malik really overthrew him, but he didn't put any touch on it. He just threw it, and it went way over. That was the one throw that I think of all of them that I would like to have seen him had back. I know he'd like to have it back. The 2 interceptions, I mean, they happened. And the one, he forced the one to me was just about like a punt, about like big deal. The one he did try to force in there, but here's the deal with Malik. Yeah, here's the deal with Malik. He hadn't played. He got demoted, and we didn't even know about it, but he got demoted. Right. I don't know why, because he's better than Cade Fortin.
Yes.
It's not even close.
No doubt. Not even close.
But, and I'm not, I'm not a coach, so I'm not over and see everything. There may have been stuff besides what we see on the field. But I'm just saying he's a better quarterback. Here's the deal with Malik. He was trying to make something happen when he threw that interception into that crowd, and it got picked off. That I can't. It's hard to be too critical of a kid who has. I was more critical of KJ at the 3 yard line against A&M for sticking the ball out, because KJ has played, he's established, he's the leader, he's the starter.
Right.
Malik is a guy that's just been demoted. And he's out there, and he's bringing Arkansas, giving them life, breathing life into that team. Because if they didn't have him yesterday, that could have gotten a lot uglier than it did. It was ugly, but it got a lot of. And here's Malik trying to make something happen, CJ.
Yeah.
And so I'll cut him a lot more slack on a deal like that. I mean, even the KJ things happen. I mean, kids make decisions at the time, and it happens in a game. So I'm not being critical of him, but I'm just saying I can give more leeway to Malik because he's a youngster that's. Younger guy that hasn't got the encouragement to be the starter, to be the man, and therefore hasn't had the opportunity. But I mean, he was trying to make something happen, and he was forced into action. But when a kid does that, I can live with that. I mean, I really can. It's not what you want. But and if he had a couple of misreads there. I think one time if he'd have pulled the ball out of the running back's belly and he could have walked into the end zone on one of them 4th and 1s. Right. But hey, I mean, a lot of that's the inexperience. Yeah. You think about it, Malik has not played a whole lot. He played the second half of the UAPB game, but that was with reserves. He played a little bit of he played some A&M game last year when KJ got hurt, I believe. Yeah,
had a couple snaps.
Play of the second half, and Malik played. And he's had some mop-up duty. Like at Penn State, he more or less just went into the game to hand off. Yeah. You think about it, Malik hasn't had a lot of opportunity to go out there and do what he did yesterday. So I think some of the mistakes, and even like I said, the anxiousness, the forcing thing, was just the fact he's inexperienced. It's just a lack of experience. But I will say this, talking about making a recruiting angle on this, I'd always said if KJ went to the NFL, right. You got Malachi coming. You've got, but I'd always felt like you needed to go to the portal to get a transfer quarterback if KJ did leave after this season. But now we will see. I mean,
with Hornsby looking the way he's looking.
Yeah. Now one thing you got to look at though, even if KJ left and you didn't go get one, you've got Hornsby. Right. But you're going to have Malachi. Then you got Cade Renfro, a walk-off, but you got and you got another walk-on from Jonesboro, but you're short on scholarship quarterback, so you're going to have to make a decision there. Yeah. They might get a portal quarterback, but he would not be someone that you would say, hey, the job is yours, Malik, you're going to be backing him up. I think Malik is probably off that performance, at least in the hunt. And there's still a lot of football left to be played this year, so we can't say for sure. But I mean, and a lot will depend on what happens going forward. But Malik would be in the conversation to possibly be the quarterback next year if KJ did leave, and I don't think anybody was really thinking that until yesterday. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. But I think it could affect recruiting there. You still got Malachi, and that's a big time high school quarterback. You know, his uncle listened to the show, and his family listened to this show last week, and they messaged me about the things we said about Malachi on here. And I don't say it because I'm going to praise them or anybody else. I say it because I really believe. And I've had Jaden Ham and Micah Tees both tell me the same thing, and I think he's the best quarterback in the country for what Arkansas does. So we'll see how that works out. But Micah, you know, but Malachi and Malik would give you a good start at quarterback. Now you might still have to get a third scholarship one. I don't, you know, that's up to the staff, you know, Kendall and Sam, and that will depend on what they want to do there. But you're still short of quarterback. If KJ comes back, then all that's secondary. You know?
Yeah. All right, the quarterback, man. The quarterback room looking very full. Malachi joining next year, and Hornsby looking good. I agree with you 100%. If Hornsby wasn't that game was a complete blowout from the beginning.
Man, and that was just that would have been very ugly. I don't think Arkansas would have ever. I don't know if they'd ever scored. Maybe they would have. I may be short.
It would have been a long time if they did.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Malik opened things up. He just showed me that pass. The main play that I saw from him, the running plays, you were talking about the 52-yard run. I've seen those. But that 54-yard pass, I believe it was 54, to Bryce Stevens, I'm telling you, man, that was
it's still Tom Brady in my mind today.
I've got on TV right now Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay. And Brady couldn't have thrown that ball any better than Malik threw that pass. I'm telling you, that was perfect. Now, like I said, he'd love to have the one with Matt Landers back, but that happened. But Jaden Hazelwood, 113 yards receiving yesterday. So, yeah, it was definitely the Malik coming out show. I had just never seen him pass like he did yesterday, and I was impressed. Well, I'm proud of him. I love when a kid gets demoted. Not love that he gets demoted, but I love when a kid gets promoted and he comes out, his next chance he gets.
Steps up.
He steps up. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not glad he got demoted. I don't have anything to do with that. But I'm just saying that I love to see any kid that gets promoted, the next time they get an opportunity, they stepped up. When Keon Hatcher went down a few years ago, Drew Morgan hadn't got to play very much, a wide receiver. What did he do? He went into the game. He played so well, they never took him out again. Now, Keon played when he came back, but they never took Drew out. You get your opportunity in college football. Instead of pouting, you better be ready to play and you better deliver, because if you don't deliver, you may not get that second chance. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantee you're going to get your first chance. There's certainly no guarantee if you don't deliver. When you do, you'll get your second chance. So, and Malik certainly delivered yesterday, and I was proud. I'm really proud for him.
I'm proud of him too, man. He stepped up huge yesterday, and it's good, like I said, for him to step up, even though he got demoted, and step up, get in that spotlight and play like he did. That's exactly how you step up as a quarterback or any player, whether it's basketball, football, softball. Whenever you get your time, it's time to shine.
With them cowbells ringing too, man. I mean, that's
loud.
Annoying. I've been to that hole before, and man, that is a hole, man. I mean, you got them cowbells ringing. You think you're out. It reminds me of when I was a kid. My dad always on the farm, and I hear them cows coming, and he's wanting me to feed them and everything, and all them old cowbells ringing. I just want to shoot myself when I hear those things, man.
It's so loud, man.
Yeah.
All right, Otis, I think we checked all the boxes today. I appreciate you stopping by, man, for another week of your Arkansas football recruiting report, man.
Thanks, CJ. Appreciate you as usual, man.